Very good afternoon and a warm welcome to one and all present here. It's our absolute pleasure to welcome you all for today's Polymer Engineering Across Borders, a Global Alumni Webinar Series 5. We are delighted to have our distinguished chief guest, esteemed faculties, and enthusiastic students to join us for this insightful and enriching event. Today, we embark on a stimulating rational journey filled with beneficial vision and exciting opportunities. Let's approach this webinar with an open mind and a spirit of curiosity, eager to learn, discuss, and explore new horizons. Now, with great respect, I invite our respected head of the department, Dr. S. Shamshath Begum ma'am, a guiding light in our academic journey and a pillar of success to deliver the welcome address.
Okay, good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Department of Polymer Engineering, it is my great pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all of you to this special virtual event, Polymer Engineering Across Borders, a Global Alumni Webinar Series 5. We are honored to host this series, which serves as a platform to bring together our global alumni community and current students, facilitating knowledge exchange and inspiring future innovation. We are privileged to have as our distinguished speaker of today's event, Mrs. Seetha Chandramouli, Investment Manager at BOM, Eindhoven, Netherlands. With her deep expertise at this intersection of advanced polymer science and emerging technologies, we are certain her talk will be both insightful and thought-provoking. Welcome, Seetha. And now I take my opportunity to warmly welcome our Professor and Director Admission, Dr. S.M. Abdul Majeed, who will be joining quickly with us. And I also take this opportunity to warmly welcome Dr. Basanta Kumar Behera, the coordinator of today's event, along with our dedicated student coordinators, Vetrichelvi and Akash, our esteemed faculty members, and our enthusiastic students. Your efforts and participations are what make such events are truly meaningful. Today's session focuses on a topic of growing global relevance, polymer science and deep tech, innovation challenges and future directions. Thank you all for joining us for this enriching session. We look forward to a fruitful and engaging discussion. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I request our faculty coordinator, Dr. Basanta Kumar Behera sir, an enthusiastic motivator to our student community, to introduce our distinguished chief guest for the day.
So thank you, students, for giving me the opportunity from the department point of view, head of the Department of Polymer Engineering. So to introduce one of the student actually who passed out from the same department in the year 2011. So Seetha Chandramouli might have remembered me because I was the teacher. Because when this Seetha Chandramouli batch, when they were in second year, they entered second year. Actually, that time only I started teaching in Crescent, and I still remembered actually for that batch my first subject. I think I took actually that was strength of material during the fourth semester. So that was a bunch of in that batch actually bunch of students actually with high energy. So Seetha Chandramouli was used to remember many occasions actually what happened in those classes and how some of those students actually to whom I still remember they are meeting me at different occasions in Chennai as well as some other places. Okay, so unfortunately I think I didn't see Seetha Chandramouli after 2011, but many of their classmates who did a lot of fun, mischief, and many things happened in those classes. Okay, so dear students, it is a pleasure for me also to introduce such a student of those years. She was a student of this department during the year 2007 to 2011. Although when she joined here actually in 2007, I was not there, but I used to hear from those days principal Dr. Periasamy sir actually how Seetha Chandramouli joined for this polymer engineering program, because in some other meeting actually those days principal and later on that Sir actually was the vice chancellor of this university also. So he used to tell actually how the Seetha Lakshmi parents came for things and how the admission happened. Although I was not there in 2007. But fortunately, when they come, this batch actually completed their first year. By that time only I joined in this university. And when Seetha Lakshmi batch came to actually our department, because of those days actually first year generally the student won't come for actually department. They will be in basic science and later on only. So Seetha Lakshmi was a student of 2007 and 11 batch. She involved in many activities. What small activities like today we are doing. No, that meant I still remember Seetha Lakshmi for that 3 years. From our second year to final year, actually involved with actually many activities, and our that yearly technical program actually she used to lead the things. I still remember. She involved in actually in IPI programs, department programs. So, and after she went out from here, she joined actually Master of Science program in Technische University, Berlin. Then she joined during 2014 to 18. She was research assistant, and later on from 2018 to 22, she was in R&D product development engineer in Netherlands. Then 2022, she was in investment associate, then investment manager in BOM Netherlands. So these are the different positions he held actually after going out from our place. But I went through her profile, and one guy he wrote, and I agreed with that one. That's why I'm reading that. One of our friend actually she wrote in Narendran Dhansekaran's. She was a supply chain management. So she wrote actually I got it's not my words. These are the words of Mr. Narendran. Seetha is a perfectionist whom I know more than 10 years. She is well organized, who efficiently manages her time and honors commitment to the stakeholders, which is very important. She is good in networking and communicating with the people, which made her more visible. Another skill, she handles all type of stakeholders effortlessly with a smiling face. And that smiling face, it makes to handle actually very tough situations, because in angerness actually you cannot handle tough situations. So that smile, I think, with that one actually very tough situations can be handled and adapt to the respective environment. Importantly, she is very friendly and very calm. So I now invite Seetha for this program and have few words to our present students actually at the same department where he was during 2007 to 11. So I welcome Seetha for this program, and she will continue with the things.
Thank you, sir. With a great honor, I now welcome our Professor and Director Admissions, Dr. S.S.M. Abdul Majeed, sir, a passionate advocate for education and dedicated mentor to offer the felicitation address.
Good morning, everyone. It is a great moment for the department because you all students, you are going to learn from your one of the prestigious alumnus of our department, Mrs. Seetha Lakshmi. Seetha Lakshmi, when she was a student in our department, I can remember she was a highly active. She was highly reactive also. She showed a lot of interest to learn new things. I can easily remember that every day she was asking several questions. Most of the questions were highly scientific, and when I gave Seetha Lakshmi for her project work, I also learned many things from Seetha Lakshmi and her team, because with a lot of curiosity every day, they used to ask many questions regarding their project work. Fortunately, they have chosen a very interesting topic for their project work. That project work they did during their BTech program also, I'm sure it also helped them to get the admission for the higher studies. Am I correct, Seetha Lakshmi? Yeah. So that is why students, our faculty, we are going on insist on you that whenever you do things, you do it with utmost sincerity, with to reach the high level of perfection. That is in front of you. There is an example, Seetha Lakshmi. When she was a student, he did everything in a highly perfect manner. She will not get satisfied with the simple things. I can understand. Not only her, most of the students in her batch also did like that. So that is why now they are holding a very prestigious positions in their field. Okay. So like that, you students sitting here to learn from our prestigious alumni Seetha Lakshmi, here you will also reach a higher positions when, if you do things in a right way with a high level of perfection, you can also achieve many things. Okay, I take this opportunity to invite Seetha Lakshmi to our department today, at least virtually. I take this opportunity to make a request to Seetha Lakshmi, whenever you visit India, you please visit us also, a department. You just meet all our young students. That will be a highly motivating thing for our students. So this kind of alumni lecture, that means seminar, is arranged only with the focus of exposing what our alumni are doing to our current students, so that the current student also learn from so many things from you. So even after the your lecture, you can just guide our students how to reach a better positions after completing their graduation also. So with these few words, I thank everyone for the patient hearing. I invite Seetha Lakshmi to give a lecture on the topic selected. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It is now time for the most awaited session of the day. We are privileged to welcome our chief guest, Mrs. Seetha Chandramouli, as she shares her insightful address on polymer science and deep tech, innovations, challenges, and future directions. We encourage everyone to actively engage in the session. A question and answer segment will follow the address, where our chief guest will thoughtfully respond to your questions.
Once again, good afternoon, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm very delighted to be seeing this promising group of to-be polymer technologists just about a decade later after, or more than a decade later after I graduated from indeed the same department and the same subject of study. And like introduced by all of them before, I'm trying to present a webinar here on polymer science and deep tech. And please take it as that I'm just trying to scratch the surface in highlighting why polymer science continues to be the cornerstone of our innovation, and how does it actually converge with deep tech in trying to contribute to some of the most transformative developments of today's modern, but also the simple technologies. It's a very simple content that I'm trying to present today. So I will start as usual with a brief introduction, presenting some of the key definitions so that we are all aligned on the same page. And then I will go with what is actually deep tech and what are the trends of deep tech. And then I will talk about the convergence or the intersection of polymer science to deep tech. And then actually I will try to be more stimulating to present some challenges and future directions where you as the next generation of innovators and the next generation of technologists continue to be inspired as to what can be done from your side in order to keep innovations and in order to keep polymer science as the pillar of all modern technologies. So I think I don't have to introduce what polymer science is, but like I said, just for us to be on the same page, I thought I will do it. And if there are any volunteers here who want to define what polymer science is, yes, please raise your hands and I'm happy to also give the floor to you. But I think one of the definitions that I remember from my study of polymer science is that, it is just a study where we not only learn the synthesis, but also the design and the application of different natural and synthetic materials. And how actually do these play a role in various high-tech industries. And they are also the foundation on which many of our today's inventions and everyday innovations are built. Coming to the other side of my title is what is known as deep tech. So what is actually deep tech? But before I go into this and before I go into the details of it, just a question. So how many of you have heard about the term deep tech? If you can raise your hands, or if you have not heard about it, then don't react. And then I know that that is not a very familiar terrain yet. How many of you know what is actually deep tech and maybe why it's important today, or have you heard of it in another way? So I don't see any, as far as I can see from the camera, I don't see any hands that go up. So I assume that deep tech is an unfamiliar subject, but it is of extremely relevance. It's of high extreme relevance and importance in today's times. So deep tech, it's actually not conventional tech, but what it does is it focuses on path-breaking and groundbreaking innovations and advancements. And now as I drop some of these terms such as AI, artificial intelligence, clean energy, semiconductors, etc., then it might ring a bell as to what deep tech is. So this category of path-breaking subjects is often classified to be as deep tech. And what is interesting about this is that it requires several years of research before commercialization. And of course, why is it important is because it tries to address the key societal challenges, such as access to food, clean health, the next generation of technologies for a safer and secure living society, and also addresses crucial material supply chain challenges. Now, of course, it is interesting for you to look at all of this from an Indian perspective, and it is very important to mention here that India's tech ecosystem is extremely rapid in its advancements, and India is, in all honesty, emerging as one of the leaders in deep tech innovation. And this primarily happens because of several government initiatives, because of the startup ecosystem, because of the venturing ecosystem that is growing in India, but also something that is coming into active fruition is the successful academic and corporate collaborations, whereby polymers are becoming the enablers in several industries to actually improve societal challenges such as performance efficiency, sustainability, and continuously drive innovation. And one of the biggest outcomes of this is that a few years back, at least when we were studying polymer science, we were constantly speaking of improving the performance of the materials, and that is where most of the focus of the research activities went into. But today we're talking about polymers having the opportunity to create entirely new applications, and applications that have not been thought of before, applications that have not been explored before. And that is where I would like to take to the next aspect, where we talk about the trends of deep tech, but also how does it connect polymers to broader advancements. So basically, what we see is that new material technologies in tandem with material innovations are basically seeing the emergence of several technologies, for instance, application of polymer science in robotics, application of polymer science using AI, where several AI-driven design tools are enabling us to simulate and optimize polymer structures with precision, and also ensuring that this precision to create the structures can also be applied in manufacturing. Thereby, we are able to scale these innovations very effectively. So something does not remain as a fundamental R&D finding, but we are actually able to commercialize them. And this synergy is where, you know, we see the stage where next generation materials with enhanced functionalities are actually being applied across industries. And across industries, meaning if we look at these innovations translating into real world products, so polymers are, like never before, actually enabling the flexible and advanced electronic space. And then next to this is that we have, we've always seen polymers as stimuli responsive materials, but what is now happening is that we have AI that is also able to power these materials so that they are able to adapt to the external environment, and thereby they make intelligent systems possible. The next pivotal aspect where polymer science plays a role is in clean energy solutions. So I'm sure we've all heard of fuel cells, we've all heard of battery performances and solar materials. So what polymer science is doing here is that it is markedly helping us to improve the battery efficiency, and through next generation coatings that can be applied on solar cells, we are able to effortlessly fabricate high performing lightweight solar panels. On the other hand, as an emerging market segment, what we see is the rise of bio-based polymers is also making energy storage more and more sustainable and viable. So this means that the applicability of bio-based polymers is much beyond the space of commodity applications. And finally, talking of deep tech and semiconductors and electronics, they go so synonymously with each other that now polymer materials are playing a pivotal role in being able to effortlessly enable chip packaging. And this chip packaging, so chip packaging refers to the art of, or the science of, combining all the materials that go into an electronic component effortlessly together so that there is improved efficiency and durability. And what is lastly very interesting to mention is that the compute power that is being invested for the R&D sector within India is markedly growing, and there we see the enhanced usage of polymer integrated circuitries. Now, having spoken this much, it is definitely safe to conclude that polymer science is a pillar of deep tech, and the breakthrough has been occurring in, let's say, For instance, using self-healing polymers for long-lasting technological applications. And another very interesting area of research is the applications of AI in order to drive polymer materials for custom engineered solutions. So we are actually transforming from the phase of additive based compounding, additive based manufacturing into applications, into using AI to engineer smart polymers so that we can realize as much as the performance of these materials in our real life applications. Now, talking of real life applications, it is worth mentioning a few case studies where across India, but also globally, the next generation of companies are leveraging polymer science to carve out completely different and new niches. So several companies, as it might be familiar, have already pioneered eco-friendly packaging using biodegradable polymers. And this paves the way to a new business model in the area of circular economy. At the same time, startups are also innovating in the healthcare space by creating sensor-embedded implants and drug delivery systems that dramatically improve, optimize, and enhance patient care. Now, what is the impact of all this on across industries and businesses is that thanks to the ability to be able to control polymer formulations, to tune polymer formulations, we are able to actually manufacture lighter and durable components for everything. So you can imagine from consumer electronics to aerospace. And like for the first time, like never before, these are in actual use. So what happens as a result is that this innovative capacity is driving more and more the applicability of polymer materials within the deep tech space. And as already mentioned, noticeable business impact is that several societies, several economies are looking into new business models, and one of which is the circular economy business model. Having said all this, there's always challenges, and challenges are the catalysts of innovation. They are the catalysts of the operations, and that is where it gets interesting for the next generation of technologists. So the first challenge that we have, is that how much of this cutting edge R&D is actually being bridged with scalable market-ready products? So how much do we actually transform from ideation to productization? This is not exclusive to the area of polymer science. However, it is seen historically that many breakthroughs in this subject struggle to make a successful transition into commercial applications. And this remains a critical gap. Some of the biggest constraints are still in the manufacturing domain. And talking of manufacturing hurdles, what we see is that advanced polymers or advanced polymer formulations require precise quality control and innovative production techniques. Of course, when you want to scale these processes in a cost-effective manner while meeting high quality standards, this is still an ongoing and significant challenge. And once we want to translate this into applications in the dynamic fields such as deep tech, this remains a significant standard. On the other hand, growth in material innovation startups, where they have successfully demonstrated use cases of bridging polymer science into sustainability or bridging polymer science into healthcare, polymer science into electronics, is also growing like never before. And here, the societal aspects also play a very important role. So there's a growing number of accelerators, one of which is, for instance, the Startup India, where they've been very active in funding research-driven polymer technology ventures. And they effortlessly, therefore, enable the, or effortlessly at least pave a way to enable advanced R&D with scalable market-ready products. And one important thing that I would like to mention here is that the potential for growth from a market perspective is almost like never before. So there is an evident rise in consumer demand in key areas such as flexible electronics, healthcare devices, sustainable packaging, where polymer science is positioned to be a crucial enabler to serve as an innovator in these deep tech domains. And this dynamic demand, visible market demand, actually opens up several opportunities, whether it is entrepreneurial or it is research or it is academic or it is just companies that are looking to make a visible difference. Moving on towards the future directions and certain opportunities. So, like I already mentioned in the end of my previous sheet, the demand for next generation polymers is visibly growing like never before. And this is often driven by climate policies, government regulations, and this is actually a very beneficial aspect because then it makes for a very clear business case towards the growth and towards the translation of R&D into scalable products. And a very notable example of this is the use of polylactic acids, which is almost PLA, which is almost replacing several aspects of single-use plastics. And there are proven studies that show that they have been reducing landfill waste. Another game changer is actually the AI-assisted material discovery, where, for example, advanced AI algorithms are used beyond the software space, are used beyond the creation of software applications to actually develop stronger, lighter, and efficient polymers. So this is also a domain where AI is intruding polymer science to be able to formulate molecules, just as it is done in the pharmaceutical space. And this paves the way for providing high-performing, easily providing high-performance polymers for advanced applications. And this will be very important in several deep tech domains, such as aerospace, advanced security systems, and also for compute power, for instance. Now, having said all this, what does it mean for you as graduating students? I think we are in a time like almost never before, and the demand for specialized polymer scientists, for specialized polymer engineers in the areas of deep tech, nanotechnology, and sustainable engineering is only continuing to grow. And the reasons for this is actually very simple, because sustainable polymer innovations are proving that they are, for instance, a way to combat climate change. And in a market like India, where not just companies, established organizations, but also several startups are rapidly advancing in several aspects of polymer science, and also the several government-backed initiatives and government-backed innovations that enable creating hundreds of jobs for new researchers, engineers, entrepreneurs, and thanks to several initiatives like Make in India, India is truly emerging as a leader, not only in polymer science and research, but in commercialization. And this is where I want to emphasize that the times are like never before. So in one line, if I have to conclude this, polymer science is no longer limited to traditional applications. So what it's actually doing now, it's driving global innovation by shaping sustainable solutions, by shaping everlasting solutions, and expanding career paths and opportunities also like never before. And with this, I want to move on to my last slide by leaving with a thought-provoking question. How are you going to contribute to this? So polymer science is evolving at a pace that is faster than ever before. And the question is, are we, but more as the next generation, are you ready to be part of this next breakthrough? The key trends that we have seen is that climate policies and environmental concerns are clearly driving companies and societies towards sustainable polymer alternatives. So biodegradability will remain, and recyclability, of course, will remain a pivotal aspect. Another new but driving trend is the use of AI in material formulations, and machine learning is actually being used to develop polymers with optimized strength, flexibility, and resistance, and they are being used in advanced applications like electronics and medical devices. Now, what I want to leave you with the thought is that whether it's venturing or academia or entrepreneurship or industry or research, whatever you decide to pursue, you have to remember that your expertise and creativity will definitely be the driver for the next generation of breakthroughs. And the question is, are you ready to jump on this bandwagon? Are you ready to contribute? With this, thank you very much for the time, opportunity, and I look forward to engaging with insightful discussions and questions. And well, continue to have your enthusiasm to explore the vast possibilities of this technology. And I think it is time, like never before, to actually push the boundaries, explore new ideas, because we see that polymer science is making a visible and impactful change. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. I'm studying third year, ma'am, and I'm planning to do my master's after completing my degree in USA, ma'am. As an alumni, do you have any suggestion for this, ma'am?
Suggestions as in which university?
Ma'am, for now, I have planned to do in Akron, ma'am.
So, thank you for your question. You mentioned that after graduating, you would like to do a master's program in the US, and you have on your list the University of Akron. So University of Akron, as far as I know, it is actually, in fact, the #1 in polymer science by EduRank, and in general, it is very highly ranked and regarded for polymer science and plastics engineering programs. And the university also has a very long history in polymer research in general. So if that is one of the areas that you would like to pursue, I can highly recommend you to apply for that. And of course, the faculty is also known for holding one of the an impressive number of patents in the field of polymer science. If I'm not wrong, they have over 250, 300 patents. And during my times as well, I've looked at Akron, University of Akron, and one of their remarkable contributions to the space of polymer science is actually in modern polymer synthesis, characterization and application. So if these are some of the areas that is of interest to you, then it is definitely a very good opportunity to consider. And hope this answers your question.
Ma'am, I'm Vikasni from Polymer Department first year. I'm planning to do my master's in Germany. Like, I have confusion that will I get a scholarship and how much CGPA should I get to get a scholarship, and is technical. I've heard that you're from Technical University. So, is that advisable or can I go with Humboldt University?
Hello, thank you for your question. I think if you mute yourself again, yeah. Okay. So thank you for your question. You had two questions. One is regarding the CGPA and the other one is regarding the scholarship. So in Germany, there are two kinds of universities basically. So there is a private university system and there is a public university system. The private university system programs or engineering programs are much more competitive. So in this case, I'm talking about University of Munich or RWTH in Aachen. And when you want to apply for these universities, if you translate the Indian CGPA, then I would say roughly anything above 8 and above would be a good figure. If you're talking about public universities, so they require a minimum of 7 German, and the 7 and 8 roughly translates to 70 and 80% to the Indian grading system. Of course, you can also use the 5-point grading scale to determine the most accurate number. So in Germany, typically the grades go between 1 and 5. So you can convert your Indian grading scale roughly to the German grade of 1 to 5 system. Now, when it comes to scholarship, so public universities, of course, a lot has changed since my times, because I studied in Germany also about now 13 years ago. So with respect to scholarships, the most popular scholarship even today is the DAAD scholarship system. So DAAD, that is the most popular, and it is also seen as one of the most prestigious scholarships for international students in general, and it is applicable, but it is applicable to various disciplines. So it is not just for engineering studies, but also for arts and economics and other social sciences. But typically the scholarship covers well, almost everything. So it goes from tuition fees to your living expenses to your travel costs. The other typical scholarship, so when you look at, again, RWTH or TU Munich, they have their own university merit scholarships, which is also applicable to be requested by international students. So if you go to the German university, selected German universities, especially in the technical schools, so RWTH or Munich is an example, then you can find on their website that they offer their own scholarships. It is not as high as the DAAD scholarship as far as I know, but it is also a decent amount. And then there are also other stipend type of scholarships, which is typically merit based, and this offers a very small support amount. I think it's in the order of a few €100, but it is also a very prestigious scholarship to consider to aid your studies. And finally, with respect to TU Berlin and Humboldt University, so if you look in the Berlin region, when you come for the Polymer Science Master's program, it's a very unique program, because in the region of Berlin, there are 4 universities: the Technical University of Berlin, the Humboldt University, the University of Potsdam, and the Free University of Berlin. When you apply to this master's program, you get a very unique opportunity where you can actually study in all these 4 universities in your first year, and each university offers a specific subject of expertise. So Technical University of Berlin, for example, has to do everything with polymer engineering, material engineering, polymer manufacturing, and polymer processing. On the other hand, if you look at Humboldt University, you will specialize here about polymer physics. So everything in the subject of polymer physics is what you would be learning here. Free University focuses on polymer chemistry, and Humboldt University focuses on application. So for instance, colloidal science is one of the topics that you will learn here. So when you apply to the master's program in the Berlin region, it actually doesn't matter where you apply from, but depending on the study period, so they have 2 intakes. One is the fall semester and one is the spring semester. So depending on the study period, you might be graduating from either the Potsdam TU University or the Humboldt Free University of Berlin. Does this answer your questions? Do you have more questions?
Ma'am, this is Seetha Chandramouli from first year. As I'm exploring about the polymers, what is your opinion about this field, ma'am?
Could you be a bit more specific with your question?
I'm exploring many things about polymers, and what is your opinion about the job opportunities in this field for girls especially?
If you can mute yourself, because I'm hearing the echo. So your question is very generic, and I think this is in the minds of many other early students in the subject of polymer science. It wouldn't be a lie to say that when I was studying, I had these questions as well. So I think the point that I try to convey with my presentation today is to actually insight that polymer science in general is a thriving field, and you have several job opportunities that you can pursue once you advance in your career. So once you start in your career, it might be, it's usually a very humble start. And what can also happen is that it might not be a very linear career trajectory as opposed to a software engineer or as opposed to an electrical engineer when you study polymer science. At the same time, what is visibly growing, thanks to the applications of polymers in many real-time areas of our lives today, is that polymer research and polymer scientist roles for developing new materials, for developing new application segments of these materials is actually in high demand today. The second thing is, of course, as a technology consultant, so many people would lack the knowledge as to what these new materials, as to what these materials can actually do in our application, in different application spaces. And this is where, as a technology consultant, you can work with a number of other industries. Of course, the third thing is that if you have the interest to pursue computer science, then you could actually try to explore the applicability of AI into polymer discovery, into polymer formulation. So that is something, as a woman, it's also maybe more easier to do it. As opposed to standing in the labs or as opposed to working in mechanical environments. So this is also something that you could consider. And maybe I would like to add to your question is that there is still some amount of segmentation, whether it's global or whether it's regional within India, for instance, with respect to job opportunities. So what we see with respect to, so I see three key regions across the world where the emergence of polymer science and the growth of polymer science continues. And of course, it's the United States, where still there is a unprecedented demand for polymer scientists when it comes to aerospace and healthcare applications. The second thing is within Europe, you have Germany and the Netherlands, where you have a very high focus. So if you take Germany, for instance, there is a very, very strong focus of R&D on advanced materials and on biopolymers. And when it comes to Netherlands, there is a very deep focus on biopolymers for commercial applications. And India is actually an emerging player in this space. So there is a rapid growth, whether it is in existing companies or in new companies, new ventures, new startups, where actually we see the convergence of polymer science and deep tech. So connected to my presentation today, and that is what I started by saying that what I tried to do was to just scratch the surface of this convergence. So yeah, it was not a direct answer, but in conclusion, what I would like to tell you, and the confidence that I would like to give you, is that polymer science is not just chemistry. It has crossed that level, and today what we see that what we see is actually quite visible, because whether it is applying for sustainability or whether it is applying for high impact innovations or whether it is exploring cross exciting career paths, polymer science has the way for it. So you're just in your first year, it is just a start, and you can explore a lot of things. And what you can actually do is, through your study period, you can try to apply for several internship opportunities so that you can experience the flavor of these different domains and then take a thoughtful conclusion to what is, suitable to you. And I hope this answers your question.
Thank you for sharing your insightful thoughts. And I'm Shweta from Polymer second year. So my question here is that I've seen my seniors actually after completing B.Tech, they're choosing MS one material science and engineering, or they're taking polymer science in specification courses. So which one is better for choosing, whether it's actually taking material science for broadening our scope or specific courses for polymers?
Thank you for your question. And well, actually, it's very interesting to see the number of girls come out and talk. This is also a very big difference to the times I studied. When I studied, my graduating batch had, I think, a handful of girls that we've already seen come and ask the question. So that is already a very big change, and that is telling me that the revolution is real. The acceptance of polymer science is real also at a society level. So very, very happy to see that. So you had a question about material science and polymer science, right? Okay, connected to my conclusion from the previous answer. So polymer science is beyond chemistry. It is a cross-disciplinary study. It is a cross-disciplinary career path. And that can actually help you to tackle several aspects. Now, when you talk of material science, of course, the biggest advantage that I see there is that it covers everything ranging from metals to ceramics to polymers to composites to nanomaterials. So it covers the entire bandwidth of what we know as materials today. And these are all interesting and all important if you, for example, refer to my talk on deep tech, then, I talked about batteries, I talked about AI, I talked about biomaterials. So these cover a bandwidth of all these materials. So therefore, the industry demand of materials in general is very high. And it is also a subject of today's geopolitical reference, because as we talk about supply chain strategies, as we talk about supply chain challenges, the general bandwidth understanding of materials will be very relevant as we go forward. And material science, just like polymer science, has also interdisciplinary applications. So it can be applied in mechanical, chemical, electrical, biomedical, all these areas. However, when you choose material science, what happens is that you have the possibility to select and explore your research opportunities if you're interested in research. So you can either go to advanced materials or sustainability or batteries or electronics or nanotechnologies. On the other hand, if you're specifically interested in polymers, then the material science program does not go deep enough as a polymer science program, because a polymer science program focuses and it dives deep into polymer chemistry, polymer physics, polymer processing, polymer applications, etc., etc. Now, in terms of competitiveness, I think what happens in material science is that you really need to have certain specific niche skills that helps you to distinguish and stand out if you want to function across industries. On the other hand, with a master's in polymer science, you of course deepen into the career paths, into the application space of polymers, but that's already large enough. So you can, become a coating scientist, you can become a plastics engineer, you can become an adhesive specialist, or you can become a biomedical engineer. So the variability that you have across the application space within polymers is equally broad, but you're specializing in one specific subject, which is polymers, right? Because then you have polymer coatings, polymer composites, polymer for biomedical, polymers for sustainability, etc., etc. So the short answer is that if you want to, after your studies in polymer science, if you want to be a versatile, if you want to have a versatile profile, and if you want to have a versatile career path, then material science might be the ideal choice. However, remember that it's good to have a niche subject. It is good to build niche specific characteristics of yourself if you want to stand out in the domain. However, if you are really passionate after these 4 years about coatings, composites, adhesives, plastics, sustainability, design, then I think polymer science is a better choice, actually. In terms of practicalities, when you choose material science, you might have a number of more universities and a number of more programs that you can apply to, as opposed to specific polymer science programs, because there are only a few, if I'm not wrong, about 10 to 15 in the entire world.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
So with this, I think the questions, whatever were there from student side, actually it's over. And now I may call actually Akash and Vetri for our vote of thanks.
For such an intellectually stimulating lecture. Your profound insights you have provided us with such a fresh perspective and renewed motivation to strive for excellence. As a token of appreciation, I now invite Mr. Akash to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to one and all. It's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks on the behalf of the Department of Polymer Engineering and the Association of Polymer Engineers under the School of Mechanical Science. First and foremost, we express our sincere gratitude to the Almighty for His blessings in bringing us together to share knowledge, celebrating achievements, and strengthen our academic community. I also take this opportunity to thank our Dean, School of Mechanical Sciences, Dr. Siddhi Jailani sir, for his continuous motivation and guidance towards all our departmental activities. A special note of gratitude to our beloved Professor and Director Admissions, Dr. S.M. Abdul Majeed sir, for being a constant source of inspiration and encouragement. Our sincere thanks to our head of the department, Dr. S. Shamshath Begum ma'am, whose leadership and unwavering support have been the backbone of our success. We also extend our deep appreciation to our faculty coordinator, Dr. Basanta Kumar Behera sir, for his tireless effort in making this event a grand success. I would like to thank our faculty members, Dr. J. Shaita Parveen ma'am and Mrs. Daulat Banu ma'am and Mrs. J. Daphne ma'am for their valuable guidance in organizing this event successfully. A special thanks to our student coordinators for their relentless dedication and efforts in making this event possible. Last but not least, I thank my fellow students for their energetic and enthusiastic participation. Your involvement has made this event truly memorable. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you for your presence and participation. Wishing you a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.